So today I'm going to be talking about naturalization and whether you can become a US citizen with a DUI. So one of the questions on the N400 asks whether you've ever been arrested, whether you've been detained. So first of all, you have to say yes, you have to disclose it, and DUI refers to drinking under the influence, whether it's drugs or alcohol. And the reason why it's relevant is when you apply for naturalization, you have to demonstrate good moral character, and having a DUI could potentially prevent you from becoming a US citizen. Now, there's certain crimes that prevent individuals from applying to become a citizen. Fortunately, the DUI is not one of those crimes, but it could still potentially affect your ability to naturalize. So 2 or more DUIs prevent a finding of good moral character. So in December 2019, USCIS announced new policy guidance implementing 2 decisions from the Attorney General. What that guidance essentially said was that if you have 2 or more DUI convictions during the statutory period, and the statutory period is the time that you have to wait before you can become or before you can apply to become a citizen. So for most people, that's 5 years. If you're married to a US citizen, that would be 3 years. So the guidance says if you have 2 or more DUI convictions during those periods, there's a rebuttable presumption that an applicant lacks good moral character. So it's a conditional bar. It doesn't mean that you definitely won't become a citizen, but it is going to make it extremely difficult. So if you have credible evidence to show that those 2 DUIs were, out of the ordinary, they were aberrations, they weren't something that you would usually do, and then if you can demonstrate that you still have good moral character, you could potentially overcome that rebuttable presumption, but it is going to be a lot more difficult. If you have 1 simple DUI, and when I say simple DUI, what I'm saying is there can't be any aggravating factors. And when you go to the interview, they will ask you to explain the incident. So they will look at the blood alcohol level at the time of the incident. They will look at whether there's any aggravating circumstances, such as how fast you were driving, were there any children in the car, etc., etc. But if it's, as I said, if it's just a simple DUI, then it should not stop you from being able to naturalize. What I would say is speak to an immigration attorney just to discuss the circumstances surrounding that DUI to make sure that it's not going to be problematic. And you may need to demonstrate good moral character in other ways. For example, the fact that you've held down a job, the fact that you've constantly been paying taxes, etc., etc. If you have multiple DUIs, it could lead to a finding of a habitual drunkard. So one of the questions on the N400 at the end asks whether you've ever been a habitual drunkard. I think what that means is somebody that's drunk all the time, but the reality is if you have multiple DUIs, it's going to be a problem coming to naturalize. So what you would probably want to do is wait more time until some of those DUIs drop off, because when you apply to become a citizen, ideally, well, you don't want any during the statutory period. If you have 1, as I said, that's probably going to be okay. If you've got 2, you've really got to be prepared to provide credible evidence to overcome that rebuttable presumption. Thanks for listening. Any questions, you can contact me at cprescott@patellegal.com.